What's going on, guys? So, in this video, what I want to talk about, honestly, is something that I usually don't talk about that often, because usually I talk about. I mean, my channel is really everywhere, right? Really, but what I want to talk about in this is I guess reality black community and black people, and the reason why. So this is my reality, right? My reality growing up as a kid. I'm gonna just break it down like this. My reality growing up as a kid. On the outside, to a lot of people, I might look black, but reality is that I'm mixed. My dad's white and my mom's black. Now, growing up as a kid, when you're mixed, you don't know what the fuck you want to be. You don't know whether you're black or whether you're white. I mean, you don't know whether to act black or act white. You know, growing up, I remember I would try to hang out with the black kids, and it would literally be like I wouldn't fit in because I acted different than them. Then I try to fit in with the white kids, but I looked different than they did. And it's just, I couldn't really fit into either crowd. And I was always look at it from a different perspective because, every time, I grew up with racist family, and I've mentioned that before, that my white side of the family, a lot of the old people in my white side of the family, they were racist, and on my grandma's side, and some of my grandparents, and my grandfather's relatives, and some of their whatever, they're like, some people were racist, and it's like, I don't know. So I grew up with racism, and I know what that's like. I know what it's like to be discriminated against. I know what it's like to go through that shit, right? I know what it's like to go through shit and still try to I don't know. I remember I used to work a job, and I don't know if I've told this story before on here. I probably told it on my old YouTube channel, but that got deleted. So, but I remember there was a time I was working this job at this pizza place, and I worked a 12-hour shift, 8 in the morning until 8 at night. It was Halloween, and I was trying to get home fast, to see my daughter in her Halloween costume before, basically she went to bed and shit, and, Halloween was over. I ended up getting stopped by a cop because I had a backpack on with my stuff in it, and I ended up getting stopped by a cop because, I was just speeding on a bike, and he said it was suspicious. And really what he meant to say is, I'm black, speeding on a bike with a backpack on, and it's Halloween, and it looks suspicious. Looks like I stole some candy or something. Even though I told him, like, you can call my job right now. He wouldn't call, though. He wouldn't call. Like, I'm like, yo, the crazy part is I had never really had a cell phone, but like I had one of those Obama phones back then, and it was like, dude, you can call right now. Like, here, I will dial the number and you can talk to them, and they'll say I just left and I'm just in a hurry to see my daughter. And he fucked with me, and it's happened with me another time with cops. When I was at the mall with my daughter and my girl, and my mom, like I've been discriminated against, so I know what that's like, and I understand why a lot of black people, have that argument, basically. But my argument is this, like, this is my personal opinion with a lot of this. A lot of this stems from the black community and as a whole has been suppressed, because this is the issue that a lot of people don't realize and don't see. Black people got ripped from Africa and got put here, taken here as slaves, and that's the only reason the majority of the people here that are black are here. Well, probably all of them. The only reason they're here in the first place is because their ancestors were taken here to become slaves. Now, when they were taken here, they lost their history. They know they're from Africa, but where in Africa? It's like saying, I'm from America, but if you're from, I don't know, Maine, or you're from Florida, there's a big difference from Maine and Florida. So it's like, what part of America? What part of Africa? Well, people don't know. You have no idea what part of Africa your ancestors are from, or you're from originally, or that's the issue with that, because our history was lost. The knowledge, the connection that we had with the plants that we were using was lost. Our original shamanistic ways were lost, and the people that we are lost, and that's why the black race seems like it's the most lost, or at least the black race here in America, because the black people in America act different than black people in Africa, for example. Because that's the main issue, because it's like this. This is why I can see both sides, because I'm mixed, because I'm black and white. I don't think just from a black perspective, and I don't think just from a white perspective. I think that you need to have an open mind on everything, and I think to really get down to the bottom of what's going on and why this is happening, it stems from a bunch of people lost their history, got taken from their land, have no clue what part of their land they're from. So they have no stories to really tell their grandkids besides that, we were slaves and we were taken and we're from Africa, and that's all they fucking know. And then, the black race, just basically got put in little areas, little ghetto. You can call them ghettos, basically, where all these people are shoved into one place. Now, what happens when all these people are shoved into one place? All these people have no clue what they are, who they are. They lost their history completely. It's bad enough that humans as a whole have no clue what the fuck's going on or who we are, or what we are. But, like, Europeans don't have that issue. You know what I mean? Like, yeah, you might not like your original ancestors. To the people with European ancestors. It's like your original ancestors. Like, they might not been from America, and you know that though. You know that they're from Europe though, and you can look it up where from Europe and all this. Like, all that information is available if you dig deep enough. The information is not available for any African American because we have no clue. And I could just see both sides. Hold on, I need a drink. But this is the thing. It's like, I don't know. I could just see this is why, the black African Americans have been so just outspoken. You know what I mean? Like, I'm real. I'm somebody that looks at reality. And reality is that a lot of people avoid the truth here that, that African Americans are suppressed. And it's a lot deeper than, the black race is suppressed. Like I said, we don't even know what the fuck we are or who we are. If you think of the issue is that African Americans think that being black, or even this, so you see this chick Woah Vicky, for example. Everyone knows who this chick Woah Vicky is now. Like, she's like blown up on the internet saying she's black, right? The issue is with this is that she's like, yeah, I'm black. You know what I mean? Yeah, I'm black. She thinks the issue is humanity thinks that is black. That is why the black race is lost. We think that sagging our pants, acting like thugs, yeah, nigga, you know what I'm saying, my nigga, we fucking hard over here, nigga, like, we think that is being black. We're fucking lost. Ask any African that has, like, still lives in Africa, that has, like, I don't know, just knows the history, knows our like, the background, knows the roots, and I can tell you one thing, that they'll tell you that is not being black. Not at all. Being black used to be something a lot deeper than that. Like, the way that Native Americans are, that's similar to the way Africans are. And honestly, that's probably similar to the way Europeans used to be a long, long, long time ago. But that history is probably lost as well. But you can go back in European history, and for some reason Europeans, are and kind of the white descendants, the English, and, they're kind of the ones that started this technological advance, right? The technological advance in the world. And, and the Africans and the Native Americans and the Asians, they're the ones that kind of had the shamanistic view of the world in a way, and they kind of kept that going. And like I said, the Africans lost themselves, and even now, Africa itself, even in Africa, like legit in Africa, even they have somewhat lost themselves. And same with the Native Americans. Even the Native Americans have lost themselves. Well, began to lose themselves. They're not completely lost yet, but that's the thing. We're not looking at the big picture of what's been going on this whole time. Of course, black people are gonna feel suppressed or whatever because that happened to us, and nobody knows who the fuck they are or how they're supposed to act. We think being a thug is being black, and we don't realize that that's the way that we were molded to be. That's the way that they were molded to be. They were trying to, I don't know, like, there's a lot of things with hip-hop music. Hip-hop music is amazing, but it caused an issue because, the only reason people were that hard is because we didn't know our history. So they were people, the black race as a whole was kind of pissed off. Like, like, fuck, man, we got taken from our homes. We don't know where we're at, so fuck the police, fuck this, fuck that. Have aggression, you know what I mean? Like, fight for your rights type shit and fight for what's right, and, you know what I mean? But now we're just fighting to stay ignorant and stay, dumb. We're just going to keep getting dumber and dumber. That's the point. And there was a point where black people couldn't even get educated in America. And I feel like now, a lot of black people are choosing not to get educated. Now it's like, because before black people couldn't get educated, so then, the people, the grandparents did not instill it in their parents, and they didn't instill it in their grandparents and their grandkids, and so therefore, a lot of people who are black and grow up in the hood, they're not thinking about, dude, I want to, I don't know, be a scientist or a doctor or change the world or think of something else or start a business, or, they're not thinking of that, because they're growing up in a different environment. A lot of people, when they grow up in the ghettos, it's like growing up in a fucking war zone. It's like, how the fuck can you even think about, I'm starting a business and I'm gonna do this and this and this with my life and I'm gonna change the world? And how the fuck do you have time to think about anything if all you're thinking about is, dude, fuck, man, are they gonna fire back at the house tonight, man? Are they gonna shoot me? Am I gonna get shot down? Or am I gonna get, the cops gonna bust in because maybe they're selling drugs or something? And it's like, I had a conversation with my girl earlier talking about how, a lot of drug dealers don't realize that if you're a successful drug dealer that makes a shit ton of money with it, then you have no clue, and you don't even realize that you could be an extremely successful businessman because you are a businessman. It's just you're selling illegal products. If you just change what you're selling and keep the same mentality and same motive and same whatever, then do it legally and then pay taxes and shit, then you'd be able to do it completely legally and you'd be fucking great. And it's like, that's the thing though. They want to keep us uneducated. As a whole, they're trying to keep everyone, not just the black community, but as a whole, they're trying to keep the blacks, whites, Asians, they're trying to keep everyone uneducated, all the people. But for black people, for some reason, honestly, it's a lot easier because we're in ghettos. And, the thing is this though, a lot of, and I hate to, and the reason why I can look at both sides, and I can honestly say this without feeling any awkward ways, is because, like I said, I'm not black and I'm not white. I'm both, and I've always been, and I've always, I remember as a kid I used to say I'm not black, I'm brown, because, I'm not black, I'm brown. It's like, if I was black, my tattoos wouldn't be able to show up on me. Like, that's the type of shit that I used to think when I was like, well, I didn't have tattoos back then, but it's like, I used to think that type of shit when I was a kid, like, and I don't know, I can see the big picture. Africans lost themselves. African Americans lost themselves because they have no clue what tribe they come from. They don't know if they're from South Africa or North Africa, maybe from Egypt, maybe from, I don't know, Nigeria, maybe from, like, there's so many other places in Africa you could have been from, your family's history could have been from, and you don't know. And none of us do, and that's fine though. I mean, we gotta learn to just let go of the past as well, just let it go. But at the same time, we have to realize that this is kind of why, I don't know. I've had conversations with a lot of racist people before. Like what's funny is I've had racist friends before. As funny as that sounds, like I've had friends that can't stand. Well, they tell me they can't stand black people, but yet they're friends with me, and I'm on the outside, and to them, I'm not mixed. To them, I'm black. So it's like, it's just, I don't know. It's all on, whether you're willing to hear out somebody's opinion or whether they hear out yours. Like my grandfather used to be racist, and my grandma, my mom's mom, who's black, she shook his hand one time and was like, well, see, that didn't wear off on you. Basically saying that, her blackness didn't turn him black. And, it just made him laugh. And it's just that perspective that eventually we're going to have to come together. And that's the thing. With the way that they're trying to separate us with politics again, like, once we fix the black and white issue, it's like the left and right issue comes up where humans still separate each other. Either you're gonna, first the reality was these people were separating us from being black or white because, some people, because they were black, they felt like you can use those as slaves, but the white people, they felt like you couldn't use them as slaves for some reason because they felt like, well, us Europeans are more intelligent than these Africans, so we'll just use them as slaves. Not knowing that the Europeans are idiots on so much shit, and that, the Africans are, idiots on some things as well, but the Africans are highly intelligent on plants and knowledge and connection with the planet and spiritual realm. It's the same things that the Native American shamans have as well. These are similar knowledges and similar things because, Africans, the African psychedelic was Iboga, but it's like, because Africa is very, doesn't really have many psychoactive plants are, in their, where it grows. They have psychoactive plants, just not psychedelic. But I just think that it also dawns on me when somebody tells me, oh, you do psychedelics, oh, you do those white people drugs, those white people things. And that always fucking boggles my mind, because it's like, you have no clue about who you are, your history, your ancestors. Because this is not just a white people thing. It's not just a white people thing to want to learn from a substance. It's not just a white people thing to dive deep in your mind. It's not just a white people thing to speak your mind. It's not just it's not just a white people thing to be a businessman. Like, these are all negative stigmas that need to change. Stereotypes that need to change. And the only way we change it is accept what has happened. Yes, the Europeans, they took, our ancestors, brought them over here and whatever, but it's like, so what? So what? It happened. Do you think the people here now want to do that? Do you think the majority of the people with European descendants that live here now, the white people that live here now, majority of them wouldn't fucking do that ever? A majority of them would probably beat the shit out of their ancestors if they could. Would probably torture their ancestors if they could. Just for doing that to black people. So, majority of people aren't like that anymore. But with this separation, with it's not just now. It used to be that black people were trying to make sure black people don't get educated and they stay dumb. Now they're trying to make sure that everybody stays dumb, because with the flow with the internet, everyone has the opportunity to learn so much knowledge, and all knowledge is accessible to us now. So now they have no choice but to pull out the separation with the right and the left with politics, with and then we come back with, Black Lives Matter comes out, and literally that, I feel like I get where you guys are coming from. I get where everyone's coming from, but it literally caused more harm than good, because, yeah, Black Lives Matter, but who gives a fuck, because everybody's life matters. Asian lives matter. Fucking alien lives matter. Like every life matters. Trees matter. Mother Earth matters. I matter, you matter, we matter. That's the issue that Black Lives Matters had, is that it caused a separation still. And why do Black Lives matter? Everyone, they talk about Black Lives Matter like they never did. Black lives have always mattered. It's just we've lost our history. So, yeah, I don't know. This has been a different topic for me, but it's been an interesting topic for me, because it's not something I usually talk about. But it is something I think about, though. And I think that we should be talking about the things we think about, even if it causes controversy, even if it causes an issue through the internet, even if you know in your heart that people will disagree, but who gives a fuck, man? It's what you really believe, so you should speak what you really believe. And this is just what's really been on my mind. And, I don't like to talk about politics because I don't really understand politics, because I don't give a fuck about politics, but, it's just, I don't know, this is a human thing. This is a human issue that we're dealing with. The human issue is that, yeah, fucking Jesus, so then black people end up being equal to white people, and then for some reason black people come back out with Black Lives Matter, which makes everyone think that black people are not equal anymore, like they haven't been equal. And we haven't been equal, and I agree that there is a lot of shit going on, but screaming, making protests, none of that's going to work. It didn't work in the first place. It didn't work with the Black Panthers. It's not going to work. It's not going to work. What we need to do is just realize that all lives matter. And it's just, man, it's complex, very complex issue, because then we go, once we fix the race issue, and it's like eventually humans will fix the race issue when every human being on the planet is mixed. I mean, people like me, who think like this, and the only reason I think like this is because I'm mixed. My dad's white, my mom's black, so I can't think from a black perspective, or I can't think from a white perspective. I can always think from both, and it's like, I don't know, once we fix the race issue, there's going to be a left and a right issue, There's gonna be a blood and a crip issue. There's gonna be a fucking, humans just tend to fucking love to separate themselves because, you know, it's the same thing with war. You know, what the fuck are we fighting for? What are we at war for? You know, if we really think about it, for what? For power, for domination, for, you know, and it's like, why? Because we think they're different than us. Nobody's different than anybody. We're all the same.